I just want to get your guys' thoughts. It doesn't have to be too long. Conference finals. We'll get to the Pacers in the next. I think that's the far more interesting series. Minnesota OKC. We've heard, as we mentioned earlier, for years, Anthony Edwards and SGA, who's going to be the new face of the league. Now they're facing each other in the conference finals. Just your thoughts. Minnesota kind of dropping the ball last year. OKC, their first appearance in a bit in the Western Conference Final. Are you a legit fan of OKC? Are they like for real, or did you see something in the Nuggets series? Especially, I know living in Denver, lots of turmoil. The coach gets fired. Aaron Gordon's playing with a jacked up hamstring. Jamal Murray's sick, and yet they're able to take OKC to the limit. Game 7 was a blowout, but the other game's pretty close. So, what are you guys feeling in this Western Conference? What's your guys' mind?
I think it's wide open. Like, I could see this going 5 games. I could see this going 6 games. I could see this going 7 games. I could see either team winning. My gut tells me to go with OKC, just for the simple fact that they were the number 1 seed. I feel like defensively, they're a little bit stronger than Minnesota, even though Minnesota's got some long bodies out there. I love Ant. And I've told you this before, JG. To me, one of the biggest missteps the Hawks made where they should have sold the farm that year when Anthony Edwards was in the draft, because you could have had 10 years of Trey and Anthony. And I think those two could have been magic. That's like my headcanon. Anthony Edwards and Trey Young could have made magic together. But that's neither here nor there, Justin. But I feel like it wouldn't shock me if Ant and them boys found a way to win, because I feel like physically they're a physical team. Rudy Gobert is a player that I have very little love for, but I can't deny his impact in the post. But I'll go with OKC just because I feel like they have a little bit more depth as well. Defense and depth, but it's going to be a hell of a series, man. In terms of face of the league, I don't feel like we'll get a definitive answer at the end of the series, Justin. Like,
I agreed. Yeah,
it's not this round. It's not even the next round. To me, it's, can you put something together? Because if we're at this point where the Celtics have had a 3 or 4 year run with this current group, and outside of hoop heads, Jason Tatum is not a star. Jaylen Brown is not a star.
I agreed. Yeah.
Giannis, I love Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's not a star. He's not LeBron. He's not Steph. He's not KD. And so it's like, yeah, like it's a good first step to get to the finals. It's a good step to win the championship. But if you want to be the face of the league, there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I agree with Nate on this one. Like, if the NBA continues on this trajectory, then every team in the league is gonna have a ring.
I'm not sure about my Bulls. I don't think so. The way they're
Separates Wizards.
So, like, I've never seen anything like this. So I was talking about this with Nate and Ray yesterday. Like, even before I was born, like the 60s, 70s were the Celtics, 80s were the Celtics, Lakers, 90s were the Bulls, Rockets got a couple, Spurs got one, Pistons got one, but like and then the 2000s it was the Lakers and Spurs. It's just, I've never seen this kind of every single year a different team is winning the championship. And I one thing I will defend OKC on beating the Nuggets in 7 games is, that's how it should have probably is supposed to go, because Denver has championship experience, right? So they're going into the playoffs with that experience behind them, and naturally, they should be tough to contend with. And I think OKC, once you jump over that hurdle, I think now you should be able, I'm not going to say easily beat the T-Wolves, but I mean, you should be able to kind of win in advance, especially after all of those games that they won in the regular season. I mean, I for that reason I do pick them to go to the finals. I'm not confident. I'm not that confident picking anybody this year, but I expect them. And just for I've got so many family members that live in New York City. All my Jamaican family members are there in Miami. And but they're all Knicks fans. Even the ones that live in Miami are Knicks fans. So they've been waiting for this for a long time. So I want to see them get to the playoffs. Or to the finals. It'd be nice to see them win. I think that's a better story. I think that's probably better for the league if the Knicks make it to the finals. I'm also expecting some feelings of deja vu with the Pacers and Knicks playing each other in the playoffs as well. That's a series that sticks with me as when I was like from my childhood. It's like that's one of the Reggie Miller scoring those like 8 points in like how many seconds was it? It was ridiculous, man. But I'm looking forward to it all, man.
Yeah, I tend to side with Nate as far as Oklahoma City pretty much having the depth, also having the length, having the size advantage, I believe. Even when you do throw out Rudy Gobert out there, it's just they have the mobility to move around as well. Um, and also, it's kind of like we've been seeing the X factor as far as with Alex Caruso off the bench, who's been playing really good ball as
Agreed.
well, and kind of being that leader. Because I know in earlier episodes of the Kings of Sport that we would talk about where, well, do these young teams have like that veteran presence that can help them make it further and further along in the playoffs? And I think he's becoming more of that for them. And so I think I would tend to go along with OKC as well. Only thing that's giving me reservation, and you kind of mentioned it, Justin, as far as Anthony Edwards not being able to get it done last year, but I don't think that's all on him. And I think we got to consider, first off, with that team last year, they had Carl Anthony Towns, and he was most likely kind of holding them back within that series as far as not being able to get around and to make things happen. And now he goes off to New York and he's making things happen in New York. I'm like, why couldn't you do this with Minnesota? And now that puts more of the onus this year on Anthony Edwards, hence that having to get like the 6th seed, but he was still able to pull them together and now getting them back to a second consecutive trip to the conference finals. So I think he has a lot on his table, and I think that he needs somebody to kind of step up to help him out within this series if they're looking at trying to advance to the finals. He needs somebody else on that team to step up. I know Anthony, or not Anthony, but Julius Randle, I think, has been the only other person on that team to score over 20 points a game in the playoffs. So, or to average over 20 points a game in the playoffs. So I think he needs more people to kind of step up. I know Naz Reid has been kind of coming through for them as well off the bench, but they need a lot of help if they're looking to get past this young upstart OKC team.
Yeah,
Ray makes some good points, JG, but the crazy thing is this could all blow up if Ant goes off. Like, that's how close this series is. Like, all it takes is a Shea game or an Ant game, and we're having a different conversation.
It's true. Totally agree. I want to shift to the Knicks and the Pacers. The battles of two fan bases. Kris mentioned it, just a huge rivalry in the 90s. Before we get to just the series itself, what do you make of the Knicks fan base? I mean, I don't know if you've seen the clips on social media, just them harassing a Pacers fan. Like, I think he's a firefighter. And I think today Tyrese Haliburton gave him tickets to like game 4 or something. He was getting pelted with trash just walking down the street. I think Knicks fans have taken it a little bit too far. Like, don't kill the other team. Like, I feel other opposing fans should go watch the game in Madison Square Garden in peace. I mean, that's a little bit too much. Yeah, it is.
Fan of fans doing that kind of stuff to these athletes. I will say this about the Knicks fan base. I know how they feel because we're kind of we've reversed because, I've been waiting for decades for the Dodgers to win the World Series, and we've got the pandemic ring, and I do count that, but for it to actually happen and you go into a parade and celebrating the Dodgers and your lifetime winning is a big, big deal. And those Knicks fans have been waiting for this forever, since like 72. So I understand the excitement, the anxiety, all that stuff. Yeah, leave people alone. People don't have to be Knicks fans, it's like you should be able to go about your life in a city and not be a fan of the team in that city and still, not have to worry about getting like projectiles thrown at you, but I am happy for the Knicks. Like I said, man, I got relatives that have been waiting for this day since the 70s, since the last time they won. This is just and a lot in there, and also those fans haven't, most of them haven't seen it in their lifetime. Even the people that are like our age, my age, they haven't seen this while they've been on Earth. So I understand the excitement for it. I wish for their sakes that the Knicks win the finals, but
Yeah, I'm in a weird position because I hate the Knicks, but I'm actually rooting for the Knicks, JG. In terms of fans, like, I'm not saying these are terrible people, but you're terrible fans. Everybody in the Northeast, Philly, Boston, New York, y'all are terrible. Brooklyn, y'all are terrible fans. Like, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. If you have any problems with my comments, go to Hoopsology and leave your thoughts for Justin and Matt and the crew.
Hoopsologypod@gmail.com.
Hoopsologypod@gmail.com. Leave me alone. I'm just saying, you're terrible. And here's the crazy thing, though, Justin. And I'm not saying anything about this particular firefighter, but as we saw over the weekend, Indiana fans ain't too great either. So I'm not really high on Indiana fans at this point either, but I think it's going to be a fun series, man. Like this, as Kris said, this brings back all those 90s feels, man. Watching Reggie and Rick Smits and Mark Jackson and Patrick Ewing and John Starks, man, and Ahmad Rashad is on the sidelines. And here's Marv Albert, man, and it's just bringing that good feeling back. I love this Knicks team. I love this Knicks team because Jalen Brunson has kind of made himself into a top flight superstar. And I don't mean a superstar in terms of people that know him, like he's not LeBron or KD or Steph level in that respect. I'm saying in terms of his game. This is a guy that people in Dallas thought, he's not worth the money. He's not worth the money. We should trade him, see what we can get for him. Goes to New York and has some good seasons, but it's just like can't do it all by himself. Then they get Mikal Bridges, they get Cat, and it's like, yeah, this works. And I like this team, man. Tibbs is a coach that, despite the fact that he runs his players into the ground, I like Tibbs. And so, yeah, like I'm in the weird position of rooting for the first time in my life for the New York Knicks, and it would be a cool story to see them beat the Pacers. It's not going to be an easy task, though, because as we saw with Cleveland, Cleveland was the number 1 seed and got demolished by this Pacer group. Tyrese Haliburton is a killer. Turner is a nice compliment. They've got some pieces. They're a well-coached team. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I think, again, any of these matchups, JG, I think whether you're talking about the East or the West, we could have a number of different combinations. Like, it could be OKC and the Knicks. It could be OKC and the Pacers. It could be the Knicks and the Wolves. Like, I could see any of those scenarios happening because the teams are so evenly matched. But in my heart, I'm rooting for the Knicks, even though their fans are terrible fans. I'm not saying you're terrible people, but you're terrible fans, just like the people in Philly and the people in Boston. Boston is a whole other reason. Y'all got some extra stuff layered in with your terrible fandom, and you know what it is. I think it's because you live in the Northeast and it's cold and you're miserable. But find some love. Find some joy in your life. Stop messing with people at the games. Leave these people alone.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick, T. The Knicks have, for it seems like decades, they've been dealing with a lot of like fool's gold coming to their team, and this person's supposed to be the one that lift them up. That if it wasn't Amari Stoudemire, it was Carmelo and
Don't do that to Melo, Kris.
It is just so many different like people that
Porzingis.
supposed to go to New York. Porzingis, yeah, that were supposed to be the guy or guys to elevate them, and I think finally they do have legitimate people that are elevating them. Because when was the last time they were even in the conference finals? Like, that's been a minute.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand but yeah, you can't be doing that kind of crap.
I heard a Knicks fan on a podcast the other day, Kris, say, and so he is 50 years old. So you got to do the math. So in his lifetime, he said the happiest he's ever been as a Knicks fan, besides right now, was when they signed Carmelo, because he was excited. He thought Carmelo was going to do big things, and Jeremy Lin with Linsanity. That's it. That's it. Those are the happiest moments in his life as a Knicks fan, other than now. So yeah, the Knicks fans have been long suffering. So again, I'm rooting for the Knicks. I'm rooting for Spike Lee. Okay, I'm rooting for that Knicks fan. Spike, I need you to get a chip, brother.
Yeah, he's in France right now. I think he better catch a flight.
He's scouting new talent.
Right. That's right. Right. Now, that's true. Right.